Let's see what they are cooking. Scorcher, okay. Is VOTH also gonna go? Oh, they're hovering. They're hovering Scorcher. They want Scorcher.
Or Razor Strike, which we haven't seen played today yet. Oh, Barrier Tank from Mystic Warrior. They have Stealth Assassin, Spirit Healer, Mech DPS, and Precision. Can we see some good plays coming in from their Stealth Assassin? Oh,
Okay, they switched to Burst Healer.
bro, Reaper is holding the base, bro. Now, this guy has experience. He knows exactly what he's doing. Okay, he's going very low. Burst Healer, starting to do his stuff. Although he does not have continuous healing, so he's gonna heal 200 HP and still gonna be low HP. He is throwing hands, though. Mystic Warrior seems to be ignoring him for some reason, even though he's the main tank of the team. I guess priority is to get that healer killed, but they don't seem to be doing that very well either. We do see them switching around with some classes, so they are trying different approaches here. They are going through the barrier, they are killing their tank, and I think the rest is just history. I think they... Okay, oh, I don't know what's happening with Knight, but he's getting in there, trying to dodge everything, but still getting in the range damage dealer's face. Getting his ult, very good usage of his ult over here, on top of 3 players from Band of the Hawk. Getting that damage in, tanking all of those blows like a Chad, and they win the fight. Very well played here. Once again, Mech DPS just showing that it's an incredible class when you get that ult in, and it's gonna get them the first checkpoint. They are suffering from low HP though. Their aura healer is not keeping up with the amount of damage they're taking, which is gonna slow them down a bit. Okay, seems like Reaper's positioning was not very good right here, but he is getting back on top of the payload. He is getting out a bit, trying to get that kill on the Mystic Warrior. Very nice kill. Although Mystic Warrior fighting back with yet another kill, they are still pushing forward. Their spawn is very close to the payload right now. Ult coming in from Mystic Warrior's aura healer, so they do have all the time in the world to push this payload. They are not focusing on that though, and instead are following one of Band of the Hawks. They are going after Reaper, but there's no point in going after him. He's just keeping them away from the point, getting some time for his team to regroup. Okay, he's getting some damage in. We're seeing an incredible 1v1 right here, but it ends up going to Knight with his Scorch DPS. He ends up winning this duel. He can now regroup with his team. He is going to his spawn, not exactly sure where the payload is, waiting for his healer. It seems they're unsure of where the payload is. They just found it out. Okay, they are grouped up, so we could see a very strong attack coming in from Mystic Warrior, and for the stream freezes for a bit. Band of the Hawk all jumping into the hole. Not exactly sure what they're doing here, but they gave so much advance to Mystic Warrior. They're already 40% of the way there, almost half of the way through the stage. Seems like Knight still hasn't figured out that you can just hold the attack button on Scorch to get the bullets to go faster. He does fall, unfortunately. Band of the Hawk finally manages to regroup on that objective. They should be playing it slow considering the amount of sustain and the tank that they have available. They are also playing 2 range DPSs, which favors that playstyle. So I really think they should be playing defensively here and not exactly pushing. Okay, we do see Knight getting his second ult here, getting the mecha on the backline of Band of the Hawk. This is gonna be absolutely destructive. His team is no more, unfortunately, but the tank, the frontliner from Band of the Hawk, does go down, and now it's just 1 mecha versus 2 range DPSs, which, as we can see, double kill coming in from Knight. Can he get the third? He does get the third. Killing spree from Knight. Very good ult coming in from him. It does give them a very good advance on that payload, but there's no one charging that payload. So while they do get a very good fight in, they don't really get much progress off of that. They were all in the face of their enemy and not considering that they still need to push that payload. So they end up dying because of that, now getting a reset for themselves. Still unsure of what side to go for the payload, but at least all 4 of them are grouped now. Okay, we do see Knight trying to frontline here a bit, but immediately getting thrown off of his game and going back. They are going back into the face of the enemy. Band of the Hawk not spacing correctly, getting all of their front lines and all of their back line also in front of Mystic Warrior. As a result, we can see Knight getting some kills in, but it was not enough. Band of the Hawk still comes out on top with a barrier tank and a burst healer doing an amazing job here. Okay, good stalling by the barrier tank, also isolating the berserk DPS, or not berserk DPS, the dash assassin. Okay, very good work from Reaper here. He's just stalling as much as he can, getting some time for his team to position themselves. He is taking a hefty amount of damage, gets polymorphed, and unfortunately does go down. Seems like burst healer was not enough to tank all of those 4 people. Should have played a bit farther back if you wanted to group up and heal. Which now leaves 3 ranged characters playing very close up against Mystic Warrior's team, which has very strong melee burst damage. Knight does go down, unfortunately, which kills their advance. And the defenders end up winning. The payload was very close to the objective, but unfortunately they were not able to push it all the way to the checkpoint and get those extra 5 minutes in. Very good job done by Band of the Hawk here. Going with a tank, very defensive, very safe team comp to play here. Mystic Warrior doing some amazing plays, but also some very questionable plays here. And yeah, it's gonna be it for first game. Okay, double healer. Mystic Warrior, that's crazy. Double tank from Band of the Hawk. So we do have 2 very safe teams here. Band of the Hawk innovating here with 2 tanks, a healer and an assassin, and Mystic Warrior with 2 healers and a tank. Meanwhile, Knight does go down, the mech DPS goes down very quickly, so lack of DPS coming in from Mystic Warrior right now. Meanwhile, Band of the Hawk still hitting it strong. Both tanks falling off on the control tank from Mystic Warrior, gonna kill him pretty easily. Meanwhile, the rest of Mystic Warrior is already down. Knight is getting back on the point, but his team is already dead. There's not much he can do. Yeah, they're just getting caught right as they get out of base. Band of the Hawk has a pretty strong control over the game. If Mystic Warrior doesn't shape up and doesn't get together, then chances are they're just gonna ride this momentum all the way to the finish line. We're only 1 minute and 20 seconds through and they're already at the first checkpoint almost. They just need 1 person to get on that payload and actually start doing work so they can actually get to the checkpoint. Seems like Mystic Warrior is having a tough time regrouping here. Okay, Knight is playing a bit more safe. I take it back. He just jumped right into the 4 people from Band of the Hawk. Meanwhile, his team is still not out of base. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, it seems like they are having a fight at the payload. Knight over here taking one of the members, one of the tanks from Band of the Hawk out of the payload. There's no healer on Mystic Warrior's side, by the way. Seems like their healer changed to an aerial DPS. So now they are currently playing a double tank comp, but no healer. Triple tank even. So looks like they're just gonna try to stall the most that they can, but Band of the Hawk, meanwhile, keeping their comp consistent and riding on the wave of momentum they got from the first fight of the match. Still going strong. Nothing looks to be able to stop these guys from pushing that payload. Meanwhile, Mystic Warrior still a bit lost in the map. Seems like Knight can't really find the payload. He is getting there though. Okay, his team is grouping together. There's 3 players together, 3 tanks and an aura healer. Seems like they are going for the stall play over here. So let's see how this is gonna work out. Seems like Band of the Hawk has no trouble getting their assassin on top of the enemy team. The enemy team is all super low HP, but the assassin does go down. However, they do have a healer. Okay, seems like Mystic Warrior's aura healer is still getting the hang of the character and still finding out how to actually heal people. Okay, seems like they did manage to stop that payload for a bit, but Band of the Hawk is getting back on it very quickly. Stealth Assassin coming in from the roof, jumping down, starting to hit immediately on Knight. Does he get the kill? No! Knight does get the kill, and now it's just a matter of time until Mystic Warrior wins the fight and gets some momentum of their own. Now they have the time to heal back up with their aura healer and ready up for the next fight. Seems like the triple tank is working. They are being able to manage taking some cheap damage and still keeping the payload in their possession. Meanwhile, Band of the Hawk gets back together. Reaper gets stuck on the corner, but seems like they do get a kill. If Reaper can just get off, okay, double kill. Seems like they got 3 members from Mystic Warrior. Seems like the payload is free to push now. This is a very good advancement for Band of the Hawk. Being able to get momentum again into this match is not an easy task, especially when playing against 3 different tanks. However, that Precision DPS and Stealth Assassin are putting in God's work right now. Okay, Stealth Assassin getting back into the Aura Healer. An excellent play by Reaper. Really, 10 out of 10 play. This is certainly gonna get them so ahead in this game. Okay, seems like 2 members from Mystic Warrior are dead. The only one that's missing is the Terrain Tank, but they are going to be able to kill him as well. Excellent assassination going on in the background. Very well played by Reaper, certainly getting them so much momentum that they desperately need. Now we're getting up to the part of surviving in the payload, so they are gonna have to hold out for a bit. Reaper does jump down, which is putting his team at a disadvantage over here with only 1 DPS against 3 tanks and a healer. Especially when it's precision DPS, you really don't want that guy being the only DPS alive. Okay, seems like Reaper is getting back on the payload. There is 1 member stalling them. Oh, and he gets out. The Aura Healer from Mystic Warrior that was stalling the payload gets out of the zone, which allows them to actually capture the payload and move forward once again. Very nice ult from Mystic Warrior's tank. We can now see that Night Stream once again freezes completely. But it seems like Mystic Warrior are able to kill at least 2 members from Bennett the Hawk. And they are pushing that and killing the rest of them. They are getting revived, but is it in time? There's 10 seconds on the clock. Mystic Warrior have an absolute easy hold here with 3 tanks, 1 healer. Band of the Hawk, Reaper kills himself again. They throw themselves 1 by 1 into the payload, which does not work against the opposing team comp, which grants them the win. They still did not get to the second checkpoint. Very close match. It seems to be approximately the same percentage. Maybe a difference of like 1 or 2% in payload progress, but very close on both teams. Definitely very innovative ideas over here. Ben of the Hawk playing a perfect assassin here, if only he didn't jump 3 times into the hole. Mystic Warrior, meanwhile, going with the 3 tank strategy, which ended up paying off very well for them. So with both teams being very close together in these first 2 games, we're going to game 3, which can actually decide the whole game right here. Okay. Ice wall stopping the payload. Seems like Knight is a bit lost in the middle of all these people. Double kill coming in from Ben of the Hawk. That's crazy. Seems like playing Stealth Assassin is paying off for Reaper. Bro is killing it. Meanwhile, there's 1 member from Mystic Warrior in the background trying to kill their burst healer. While we do get Reaper finally getting on top of him, that's gonna be an easy kill. Okay, seems like Mystic Warrior is just ganging up on top of the payload and trying to hit wherever it lands. Meanwhile, Ben of the Hawk fighting very close together, which is very good for their burst healer, being able to AoE heal the entire team with 1 ability. The aerial DPS is playing very down though, not really using their abilities to the maximum use, which could work considering how grouped together Mystic Warrior tend to be, but now they're coming just 1 by 1, which doesn't really help. Reaper coming in from behind with the assassin, immediately forgetting its target and going into another one. He does get a kill. Oh my god, we do see a double kill over here. Very strong gameplay from Ben of the Hawk. Unfortunately, they end up all dying, and Mystic Warrior ends up getting some leverage on that payload. Okay, the respawn Deadeye ends up killing the last member of Ben of the Hawk. Now they're stuck trying to get back to the payload while Mystic Warrior gets some work done on their objective. Okay, Reaper cooking another one of his sneaky assassinations. He's getting on top of the payload, stalling it a bit, and he spawns right in front of the entirety of Mystic Warrior's team. Is that the best that he could do here? It doesn't seem like it. Oh, he does sneak back on their precision DPS, immediately changes to their aura healer. Knight putting in the work of his life, completely winning the game for his team. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is just holding together, surviving. That's all they need to do. Reaper doing some hefty damage on the 2 remaining members from Mystic Warrior, which end up going down as well. So now Ben of the Hawk completely recovered control of the game. Mystic Warrior already fighting again with Ben of the Hawk. Okay, we do see Reaper using his blink, getting back into the payload. Is he gonna use his invisibility? Okay, immediately poisons the burst healer. Goes invisible. He's gonna try and target the tank. No! He goes for the aura healer. Knight keeps going, only focusing on the aura healer. He does not care for the rest of the game. Gets stuck on the stairs. A bit unfortunate, which grants the aura healer on the opposite team some time to regroup with his team, heal them back up, get some leverage on this fight. He does get some AoE damage on these guys. Unfortunately, he is an assassin and he's getting ganged up by 3 people. He does get a kill, however. We do see Knight on the other side also gets a kill. They end up killing the assassin. They end up killing Reaper and getting the payload. Are they able to get it to the first checkpoint? Okay, doing a very good job here, ganging up on their adversaries. Targeting again the burst healer. Band of the Hawk is going very strong on that healer targeting, doing very well by themselves. They do, unfortunately, get the first checkpoint taken by Mystic Warrior. So now it's just a matter of keeping pushing. Mystic Warrior with their spawn point right now besides the payload, and Band of the Hawk having their spawn point moved further back, which is going to give some time for Mystic Warrior to catch up. Unfortunately, we can't get a view of the fight because Night Stream froze. But it seems like Mystic Warrior were pretty quick to win that fight, which makes sense considering their spawn point was right outside the payload. Okay. They're getting targeted from behind. Okay, this precision DPS from Band of the Hawk seems to have learned from Wafer from the previous match today. He's doing some ominous flanks here. Meanwhile, Mystic Warrior just doesn't care. They don't need to fight that precision DPS. They just need to push the payload. Now, Band of the Hawk finally getting on top of them. Unfortunately, Reaper got into a bit of a skirmish with the enemy team. Considering he's an assassin, he instantly dies. However, he did deal some massive amounts of damage to the enemy team, which does go down soon after. It seems to me that Band of the Hawk did win that fight, right? Because Mystic Warrior had 3 deaths at least. Okay, seems like Reaper is using his blink to get to the payload as soon as he can, trying to regroup with his team. Meanwhile, Mystic Warrior coming in waves, trying to force their way through. They're all targeting that tank up on top of the stairs. Can they get it done? It's one tank versus the entirety of Mystic Warrior, so... Okay, seems like the tank does kill the aura healer, so now Mystic Warrior is currently fighting with no heals whatsoever. However, Knight is still full HP, getting on the back of the enemy team, now getting jumped by 4 players, and he's soon gonna be going back to his spawn. Very good attempt, but still, considering his healer had just died, not really a very easy solution to his problem. Should have probably waited for his team. The payload, however, seems to have gone up exponentially. Amazing job coming here from Mystic Warrior, getting that sneak on the payload. Incredible push. Very good job. Making use of Band of the Hawk's distraction. Seems like Reaper fell down the hole again. The hole seems to be his biggest nightmare this match. Seems like Knight gets a double kill here. And the only player remaining is a tank from Band of the Hawk. They do use their ult and gets the triple kill from Knight. They do get a very easy push on the payload here. Now it's time to survive in the area. So this is gonna stop them for a bit. Considering they have an aura healer and a terrain tank, they should be able to hold on for a bit. Seems like Band of the Hawk is very separated here. Seems like the assassin does catch Knight off guard. He ignores Knight, goes onto the core of the team, tries to get the healer killed. Does he manage to get it? No, he gets polymorphed. The healer does die soon after though, which leaves Mystic Warrior completely vulnerable to just getting completely destroyed by Band of the Hawk. Seems like the defenders get some time to rest here, some time to group up, heal. Seems like one of Mystic Warrior's members are still there, and seems like Reaper gets his 2nd death to the hole this match.
Bro.
He may be playing incredibly well, but the hole takes us all. Now, Band of the Hawk is stuck fighting without a damage dealer. However, the ult comes in from the control tank. Mystic Warrior's unable to do anything about it. Knight goes down. Meanwhile, Reaper is back on the point. He was trying to get an assassination, but is getting CC'd all the way back to the statue here. Seems like they are not gonna be able to get to the 2nd checkpoint again. 20 seconds on the clock. Knight gets back, gets an easy kill on their tank. Their Gaia does go down. Getting freeze on Knight. Knight is not able to play. He ends up getting his ult. They are getting back on the point. Can they push it back? 5 seconds on the clock. They need to stick very close together to it to try and bring out this victory. Seems like they are not gonna move from this point. Is Knight gonna die? I feel like if Knight dies here, the game is just over. It seems like Mafi on the terrain tank gets back on the payload. They are stalling it very well. Are they gonna be able to wait for the rest of their team? They don't have a healer, and seems like Mafi was not enough to stall that payload, so it's gonna be another win for the defenders. Again, payload got to almost as much percentage as it did in the first match. So it was another very close match here. So I'm interested because this fourth match now is going to decide the future of the game, because the first two matches ended up in almost the same score, and this one here ends up almost in the same fashion. So seems like Mystic Warriors are loving to play their tank characters, not really getting a lot in terms of damage, but it's getting them enough momentum to push the payload up to the halfway mark. Meanwhile, Ben of the Hawk going with that assassin playstyle, doing very, very well. Reaper is doing some amazing assassinations on the healers. They definitely have their priority targets very well thought out. So I guess let's go to fourth game, which will decide it all. Okay. Bro loves targeting those healers. He's doing a great job at it. Taking him off from his team, immediately getting that payload almost to half of this first checkpoint. Okay, seems like the precision DPS is getting back on, but he is soon gonna get killed being alone against 4 people. He does die. They do get a free payload push all the way probably to the first checkpoint. They have to capture the point first. Okay, seems like Mystic Warriors getting back on the point. Meanwhile, Band of the Hawk still holding strong. Okay, seems like Knight is going in as a tank. Mystic Warrior again playing 3 tanks and a healer on defense. They seem to be super confident that that's their best option here. Seems like Ben of the Hawk gets very quickly to their first checkpoint. Okay, invisibility coming in from Reaper, doing another one of his classics, getting on top of the healer. They do turn to one of the tanks. They do kill Mafi very quickly here. Seems like the healer does survive, but they go away, so it's of no consequence to Band of the Hawk. Knight here, stuck between waiting for his team or going in. Seems like Mafi has his own ideas here. Goes on alone into the payload. He does die. Mr. Luffy dies as well. Oh, okay, Knight ulting in the middle, catching all 4 of them. Seems like the burst healer does not go with him. Seems like he's healing him through the wall. Crazy strategy here, keeping the healer safe, but unfortunately the healer is not enough to out-heal 4 members of Band of the Hawk. They're all sticking very close together. Reaper getting the heals off the ground, trying to hit his teammates for no reason whatsoever. Does kill Mafi. Now, what is he gonna do? He does see that the aura healer is somewhere nearby, but he still goes in to the backline, tries to get an assassination on that mech DPS, is not able to get it, falls down the hole yet again.
Why?
Okay, seems like Knight with the aura healer, they're going very hard after the precision DPS. Are they gonna get it though? No, it's a mech DPS. I can't see the difference because of the bows. Okay, seems like they do get in there, but the aura healer is no more, and seems like Knight is also gonna die. Meanwhile, we look at Reaper, which is already back. He does blink onto one of the DPSs, does get the kill, gets back on point with another blink. Very, very safe and very strong gameplay coming in from Band of the Hawk here. They're holding that momentum like it's their lives, getting those kills exactly when they need them, where they need them. Meanwhile, Mystic Warrior trying to do some flanks. Okay, focusing now on just stalling them behind the line. Knight gets an ult on 3 members of Band of the Hawk. Does go in like a madman. Seems like they don't have a healer. Reaper does die, so they don't have DPS on the side of Band of the Hawk. Knight does go down, unfortunately. There's no one alive from his team to keep the payload from moving. And they do get it to the second point. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's looking like a Band of the Hawk win. They are gonna keep pushing it though, very confident. They just keep going. Seems like nothing Mystic Warriors doing is affecting them whatsoever. Seems like they figure out their flow to the match. Reaper is just keeping to himself in the payload, not really doing a lot. Okay, blinks. Misses the blink, blinks again, trying to get one of the DPSs from Mystic Warrior dead. Does not find him though. Now half HP, going invisible. Oh, finding him yet again, poisoning him and helping his team get the kill. Meanwhile, Knight is behind them with a barrier. Can he get anything out of it? Mafi is with him. Can they get on top of the payload? No ult on Knight, so there's no AoE CC. Mafi does go down very quickly. We do see all players falling on top of Knight. He is also unable to do anything. Meanwhile, the other 2 players from Mystic Warrior in the backlines. Meanwhile, their aura healers getting completely demolished by the assassin. Reaper doing a fine job yet again, now going against the aerial DPS. getting the kill on both. Very good job. Ben of the Hawk doing very well, keeping together and keeping smart most of all. Like Mystic Warrior back yet again. Mafi and Knight are back. Seems like they refuse to group up for reasons that we do not know. It seems like Knight is holding on for a good while here, but he is gonna go down very soon. Now there's Reaper yet again, completely locked in on that healer. Doesn't even care about the rest of the match. It's like his mind is focused on one thing and one thing only, and it's getting that healer down. Okay, now he turns his attention to the rest of Mystic Warrior trying to capture the payload. Not having a lot of success considering that they're fighting with no healer. Okay, Band of the Hawk does get the kills on all of them. Pushing the payload onto the final point. Are they able to get it, or is there gonna be a final fight here? Okay, the payload seems to be stopped at 99%. Can we get closure to this game? Seems like Reaper does go down. Seems like Mystic Warrior are finally getting some momentum back, but it's too late now, because Band of the Hawk is already with the point at the end. So anything they do here just closes out the game. Now, are they going to be able to close it out with a clean 3-pointer is the question. We do see Reaper is already setting their gazes on that back line. He's going around the long way, going invisible, getting on top of them, AoE poisoning. Is he gonna get the kill on Knight? Seems like he is. Does he get it? He gets the... There's a double kill coming in from Band of the Hawk. Very well played. They do push the payload onto the third point, and it's a very clean 4-2 for Band of the Hawk. Very well played. Very strong last game. And yeah, overall amazing performance from both teams. Mystic Warrior a bit stuck on their ways, refused to adapt to the changing battlefield, decided to keep with one strategy alone the entire game and not grouping up together, going on waves of 2, which unfortunately did nothing against Reaper's ingenuity and the rest of BOTH's strength, and overall just immovable from the payload in this last game. The tank doing a very good job, and the healer supporting their team very well. Very strong gameplay from them. And that's gonna be it for this series.